Welcome to the Profitable Cleaner podcast. Join your hosts, James Harper and Angel Sandoval, bringing you the experts, discussions, and knowledge you want. We talk about sales, technology, marketing, operations, strategy, leadership, mindset, health, God, and so much more. Now, are you ready to profit?
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Profitable Cleaner. Once again, we are back with our initial guest. As you guys know, this is our second season, 92 episodes in the first season. And now we're bringing, as you know, all of our roundtable leaders, all of our keynotes. So if you haven't gotten your ticket, get it now. But James, how are you doing today, sir?
We're doing good, man. Super pumped to talk to Juan here today.
Yeah, and Juan, welcome, brother. CEO of Pipe Hire, Remote Mate, Estimati. You have a lot of things when it comes down to both tech stack and cleaning, man. But for those that don't know you, give us that 30-second intro, brother.
Sure. Well, thank you guys, and pleasure to see you again. Basically, Juan Chaparro is my name. Started around 18 years ago with a residential cleaning company in Dallas called Gmates, which led us to other, problems that we found, which was hiring people and sales. So that's how Pipe Hire was created. Basically, trying to find a solution to our own problem, which is finding the right people to hire. And also recently we're launching a new product for helping companies capture more leads, because that's the other problem we found is capturing leads and bringing new leads costs a lot of money. So that's Estimati, a new product that we're launching soon. It's now in beta.
Nice, man. Nice. I love so you love the tech side of things. For those that don't know you, when did you begin? When did you get into the tech stack portion of things? Like, when did you get into tech?
Around 2013, I went to a tech accelerator, as they call them, in New York City. We were trying to build something that was like a concierge for homes. So it was called Serviceful. And it was based on, you will have, your own portal, you will put in your home address, and then the system will recommend you all these different providers for cleaning, for HVAC, for landscaping. And then there will be a virtual and real person that will help you manage all of that different services that a home needs. So you will kind of outsource completely to this concierge, the management of all those people. That was how we got into the accelerator. That idea is still very powerful. We haven't or didn't execute it in 2013 because we were raising money back then for the project. Never got funded. But I think it wasn't the right time for that product. So we kind of put it on the side and focused on Gmates, and eventually started, building Pipe Hire, which was really a bigger pain that cleaning companies have, and we had originally.
Well, and so I know, as you know, we have our event coming up, and our event is definitely focused on the commercial side of things, right? Of course, we'll take any, like, if somebody that's doing residential wants to come and network and get themselves into the position, then of course, come on down, right? Who knows nowadays? The podcast does both residential, exterior, commercial. The event might take another avenue, right? But for now, for those that are going and those that want to go, and they're like, you know what, I do struggle with hiring. How to tell me a little bit about Pipe Hire, and just really more importantly, what are some common mistakes that you see from people when it comes down to hiring?
Sure. Well, the main mistake that people, and in general commercial and residential companies, have is that they don't have a good jobs or careers page set up. Most companies, I could say 80% of the companies, still have just a Google form or some type of form just to capture the data of an applicant. But they don't understand that the most important sale that you have to make is to cleaners, to applicants, so you can really get the team that you want. So if you look at any company, you'll see 80% of them have a terrible landing page for that, which impacts their recruiting tremendously. And, they spend a lot of money with the side of the customer, but they forget that the most important customers we need to find are cleaners. Those are the real money makers. The customers, yeah, are important too, but you need the employees first to find those customers and retain those customers. So that is the number one mistake that I see. um, and then how Pipehard really helps on that is, obviously we have our own landing pages to help solve that problem. But the most important part is that when somebody applies to your company, the system helps you qualify them, screen them for you, set up the interviews automatically for you, and really give you this step by step process to organize and simplify the hiring part. Most companies that I see are still using spreadsheets to manage that, or even their inbox with a filter that says qualified or not qualified, and they still manage that whole process through email. And I always tell people, hey, do you still manage all your sales through like an email thread? Most people say, no, I have a CRM. So Pipehire could be like that CRM version for your hiring, for your recruiting. And if we understand that we have to hire the right people to grow, then Pipehire becomes a real important solution to growth on a company.
Hey, Juan, I think you make a really
Yeah,
interesting point when you talk about your biggest sale actually kind of starts with the recruitment to whoever
correct.
you're trying to hire. Um, Interesting way to kind of think about that I personally haven't thought about. I've seen content from you in the past talking about an
Hmm.
IEP, right? One, give
Right.
people an update on what an IEP is, and maybe like why that is important. Because I think a lot of people overskip this. They're like, "Oh, I need help. I need
Right.
someone to do the work," but they don't really take the intentionality to think through who they should be hiring. So, what is an IEP, and maybe kind of help give some best
Sure.
practices on creating that.
Definitely. So the EIP, or an ideal employee profile, is really defining how that person looks, acts, and behaves, really. And as you know, when we're setting up targets for customers, we define where they live, their income level, their profession, their marital status. We define all those things for our customers. We have to do the same for our cleaners or employees. Why? Because they are a customer too. They're just a different type of customer, but we need to attract them. We need to pay to get traffic to apply. So they are customers. And if we don't know exactly who's the ideal employee for our company, then we might onboard somebody that will quit in a couple of weeks or a month. So that becomes expensive to the company. So companies that I see that are moving forward and growing are those companies that have a great landing page. They know who they're talking to, who they are attracting to, and they have that full process very well dialed in, so they can really attract and recruit these specific employees. That really gives them a big advantage over other companies that are just hiring, hey, I just need help, bring somebody that can breathe. And it's not that way anymore. You really need to find the people that really makes a click or a good fit with your company. In my case, in my company, because I'm Hispanic, and my team is Hispanic, obviously we all connect well with Hispanic workers. So yeah, we can hire people from other different ethnicities, but when they are in meetings together, when they work together, somebody that's kind of out of that ideal employee profile doesn't mix well sometimes, and they don't feel part of the team and tend to quit. So we learned that the hard way, and we said, just let's find the right people that will become more of a family with our current team. And those are the people that we end up hiring the most, because they they just stick to the team because they feel like this is a family. Hispanics are very focused on family, so they like that environment. And that's how we're able to grow. And because if we have enough employees, we can keep acquiring customers. If we don't have enough employees, sales suffer. So that's my biggest recommendation. Now, how do you create one? I have a link on our site on Pipehire in the resources section, which is like a downloadable template that you can use to complete some questions there, and that will help you define that person. It's absolutely free to use that, and you can really find a huge advantage when you do that versus other companies that are just still hoping and praying somebody shows up and it's an A player.
So I have a question. So obviously, I like the idea of IEP. I agree on
Mhm.
the going back to the careers page a little bit. I
Yeah,
agree that if you don't put any time into it, or you don't put any effort, or it's not one of the most important parts of your site, then that also throws a message, right? Um,
right.
if you don't put time into it, or it doesn't look good, doesn't show importance, then imagine what an employee feels like when they're going in there to apply, or a prospect employee,
Correct.
right? And I like the idea of the IEP. What level of a company? And again, I'm going to stick with commercial. I know we kind of keep weaving back to residential, but I'll keep taking with commercial. At what point of a company do you think they should know what their IEP is? Like in the beginning stages, does IEP matter a lot, or is it after you've been going through a few years and then you start figuring out who you vibe and who you don't vibe with, core
I
values?
Yeah, definitely. I think a company can get started with this concept immediately from day one, no matter if they're experienced or not in the business. I think obviously as they evolve their company, 6 months to a year, they'll start to find who are those people that are really sticking to the company. I think within that first year, you should be able to start figuring out who is that ideal employee profile for your company. If you do that very early on, you will save a lot of waste time, money, and resources throughout the years. It took me probably, we've been 18 years in business. It took me probably 15 years to realize, hey, I just need to find this type of people. I'm not going to waste with any time with anyone else. So if you really get started right away with this concept, you will within 6 months to a year, you will find and fine tune that person, that profile, and you will save a lot of frustration and time. And I think that's something that you can, gets you ahead of a lot of companies.
One, I'm going to kind of ask a random question here, and it's because I know how
Mhm.
your business is and kind of how your experience has been set up.
Yeah.
So many people who listen to this show know that we run our business virtually. I know based on your
Right.
experience, you've ran businesses and run your business virtually too. I want to talk about hiring from a virtual perspective. I think it's starting to become more
Hmm.
popular. I think a lot of companies still believe,
Right.
like, oh, hey, I have to interview someone in person before I make the decision and put them into a new building to clean. Talk to me about the virtual, like, what, just based on your experience, like, are people hiring virtually more in your experience? Do you have any insight into how companies can start implementing that? Because it's more scalable and it's way more time effective. So if someone's sitting here and they're like, I run my business from North Carolina, but it's in Texas, what feedback or advice would you give someone trying to hire virtually in today's world?
Sure.
Real quick,
Definitely.
James.
Yeah.
Sorry, just so that people listen. When you say hire virtually, because you talk about two things. There's one like having a virtual team that can help you run the business, but then you also mentioned where people still think that you need to interview in person at the office. So just real quick, just to understand, which two are you referring to? About hiring cleaners through a virtual process, or having like ops teams or HR teams virtually, almost not having to be in the US or in the same
Yeah,
location? Which of the two are you
yeah,
talking about?
great clarification. I'm really talking about the business owner that's trying to hire a cleaner that historically has been an
Cleaner. Yeah.
import person interview. What that looks like based on Juan's experience, like hiring those people like over the phone or over Zoom from a virtual perspective.
Hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Good
Gotcha. Thanks.
clarification. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen definitely, obviously, since the pandemic, a lot of people try to minimize cost and resources, so they went to online hiring. And yes, I've seen an increase in that aspect because PipeHire allows you to set up interviews automatically through your Zoom link or any other method of virtual. So we've seen that growth. Now, I always say that the the biggest legwork is to identify the right person. Piper helps you do that, but I do like to have an initial pre-screening interview via Zoom or iPhone, whichever tool they have, but we want to see their face. We want to see how they talk, how they behave on the phone, but we want to see their face. If we really like that interaction and we like their application, their information, their background check, and we like all that information, then those are the people that we bring to an office for a final interview to really just handpick, cherry pick the right people. And that happens in Dallas in a small office space that we have, but it's done by the field manager locally there. That is the last, I would say, is the last mile of the process, is to do that final in-person interview, but everything else happens virtually. I'm sure, you could find people completely virtually and hire them, but I like them to come and see our office. I like them to come and see who we are, or photos in this, in the office, the different, you know, newspaper articles, things that we're on. So it builds confidence that this is a real company, that they should, give their best effort when they get started. So we want to show them that. So it's important for us to really, that last mile, make it in person. But everything else is really virtual.
Okay, interesting. So you kind of have a
Yeah,
hybrid model, it sounds like.
Yeah, you could call it hybrid.
Okay, cool. Angel, one last question to follow up there. Have you noticed when you started this hybrid model, Juan, because we know, like personally, we have a lot of clients starting to do this, right? And we've heard a lot
Yeah.
of like mixed things, like, oh, people who are in the cleaning industry that's applying to be in the field, they might not want to show up to a Zoom call. I'm just curious, like, if you have any experience on like, what's your like hit rate on people actually showing up to Zoom calls? Is it more? Is it less? Has that been a hiccup for you versus when you were just like kind of doing it the more traditional route?
There is, in my opinion, when we allow people to book a call, we give them two options of phone, regular phone, or Zoom. And we notice that, people tend to pick either or, pretty much the same rate, like 50-50. But we notice that we increase the rate of people showing up when we give them the options, phone or Zoom. If you just give them Zoom, some people that are maybe a bit older or not too savvy on the tools or that, they say, oh, sorry, I'm not going to do it. But I always recommend Zoom and a regular phone, and you can do that setup on your setting, on your Calendly. You can put those two options. So that has helped a lot, because I don't believe on 100% on something like all Zoom or all phone. We want to give options to people, and we also want to give a range of 3 to 7 days from the moment they book the call until they get interviewed. We don't want to give like 2-3 weeks in advance, because life happens. This person, suddenly their kid gets sick, and in 2 weeks they won't show up to interview. So I want you to make it 3 to 7 days of limit of how far in advance they can book. That also increases the amount of people showing up. And also Calendly gives you all these text reminders, email reminders, and you can do like 48 hours before, 24 hours before, and like 8 hours before. So with all of those tweaks and improvements, people will show up more. So that's my recommendation for increasing people showing up to interviews.
All right, hang with me for the next minute and a half. We got a quick break here in the Profitable Cleaner because we're officially official. It's like I like to say it. Why? Because I get to take this break and introduce our sponsors. First sponsors is USource. So go to usource.com. That's USOURCE.com. This is a business management platform for facility services companies. No more chaos, unnecessary admin work, or just having to consolidate information. This is about you not being the source of information anymore and having a platform that can give you the accessibility, visibility, and control over your operation. So see more, do more, whether you're one employee or 3,000 employees. This is the platform for you. So check out our sponsor, usource.com. Our second sponsor, dateporter.com. They will help you with all your outbound, LinkedIn, email, call. And they're going to do it with a team from Latin America. So make sure that you reach out to them, dateporter.com. They can help you hire your next superstar and give you the strategies to go book the walkthroughs that you're looking for. The third one is going to be Melgar Consulting. That's alexmelgar.com. If you're hovering around the $5 million range and you're in the facility services industry, want to hit those 20, want to keep bumping your head and really want to scale, he is going to be able to consult and help you have the right foundation, the right structure, and the right strategies, and the right advisory and consulting to get you past those 5 to 20 million. So go to alexmelgar.com. And last but not least, our fourth sponsor, cleaningprofits.com. That is our annual event for facility services CEO, executive teams, leadership teams. Bring them out. This is all about transformation. It's all about training. It's all about community. And it's held once a year, this year, September 12th to the 14th. So thank you once again to all of our sponsors, and let's continue on to the show. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is getting whoever your team is that's in charge of hiring. Because again, there's let me hire 5 jobs, and then there's hey, I need to hire 100 jobs in the next 3 weeks, right? And so in the commercial space, I do believe like all virtual wouldn't make sense. I think you're right. I think how we've seen it is giving them the tools so that all the heavy lifting is in the beginning, right? All the heavy
Correct.
lifting is just getting the attention of the prospect employee, getting them to apply, give them the documents, and then once they get interviewed and they're actually legit, I think after that, usually companies have it pretty figured out. But it's
Yeah.
that whole transition where like, did I reach out to that person? Did this person do this? Did they schedule the interview? Did we reschedule? And you're
Correct.
trying to put all these tools together. You as a recruiter, you're trying to do all that plus your job, plus you know what I mean. Like that's where it gets crazy. You know,
Definitely.
have you seen any practices to help people with the heavy lifting? So a little bit more on the recruiting side. Most companies that I know, they do Indeed, they do ZipRecruiter, they do local jobs, they ask for referrals. Do you have any like random things that you've heard people do, or something that is completely different that you're like, huh, that's worked for us to find cleaners in particular?
Yes, I've done, and this is very rarely, and you probably haven't heard of it, maybe from anyone. We do have our YouTube video that we recorded years ago, one in English, one in Spanish, two which is hey, come and apply to Gmates, and it shows like a little bit of day in the life of a cleaner, and it's like a 2 minute video, and we put ads, paid ads in YouTube for that video. And because you can target very precise locations, you don't want to show it to everyone in the United States. You want to say, okay, just show it in this region of the country and put, $200 a month. That's very targeted. It's very unusual. And we use it when nothing else is working. But it's a strategy that maybe you've never heard, but it does work. So we have that on and off with conjunction with paid Indeed monthly. We don't do the pay per application, which is very expensive. We have just a monthly budget that we set, and I have a Spanish ad and an English ad. And I always have ads turned on and a certain budget. I don't turn them off every week, up and down. I've seen people that they just think that turning it off and on, and like doing these tricks will bump them to the top. And in reality, Indeed is very simple, but people complicate it. They just want to get paid to be, for your ad to be displayed. And remember that Indeed is a search engine for jobs. It's really your keywords in your title have to be there so people can find you. They just make it more complicated than it is. But if you keep this in mind, Indeed is a search engine, and the way you write your copy in your ad has the keywords that people are looking for. You will get displayed more, and if you're paying, even more. So when you combine these things, you're going to have obviously this recruiting machine going on all day long. And when you have your ads for customers and your ads for cleaners always on, this thing continuously has movement, has momentum. And don't make the mistake of turning off ads. Yeah, sometimes you can lower budgets, but my recommendation is to always continuously be, acquiring customers and cleaners, because that's really the only way for growing a service company.
I have a crazy idea.
Yeah.
This guy-
I like this.
That's a first, man. YouTube ads for recruiting on this show. That's a. I wish I had a bomb sound, dude. That's the bomb right there.
What I wonder now. So based on that, I wonder now. And now we're just gonna talk. I don't think I have a crazy. So like you know how there's job fairs, and then there's also like the landing page. Let me reformulate my question. You have a landing page for the jobs that they go to,
Correct.
meaning that if people found you online, if you could do retargeting, right? You could grab their pixel when they visited, and then can't you
Yeah.
run retargeting ads to Facebook from
Yeah.
people that visited saying, hey, still looking for a job type of thing with a video on the day of Gmates? Like, do people, to me, that makes a lot of sense.
It makes sense. I haven't tried, but I think there's not a reason why not to try, because yeah, they're a customer, and if we can stay at top of mind showing our ads in different sites, I think it's a great idea. I'm gonna write it down.
Like, because you just said, so you said something really cool in the beginning that now I hear
Yeah.
you talk and I'm like, what if I looked at my recruiting machine as my marketing machine? The same way I would look at marketing and sales. What if I looked at it exactly the same way
Mhm.
for my recruiting? Well, that means that you're right, I have to have landing pages, I have to have automations, I have to find what part
Correct.
of the buyer stage are they in, right? So like, are they looking for a job or are they currently looking for someone else? And if so, I mean, working for someone else. And if so, how can I get access to them as well? Right. And if they visit my
Definitely.
page, then I can retarget them through a pixel, run some ads, get them to just put their name and email, or a phone and give them a call. Right. I almost wonder if there could be an ad. Now I'm just thinking out loud here. I'm like writing this down for myself. I'm like, what if we ran an ad that said something like, especially if our selling point that was that we create a family, we pay more, things like that. I
Right.
almost wonder if we could do like an ad that just said, wondering if you get, wondering where you are versus the market, or wondering your job versus where you could be. And it's almost like a checklist, like a landing, basically a lead magnet,
Yeah.
but in recruiting, where they're just filling it out, and it's a quiz that tells them your pay lands in the, you know, your pay and
Definitely.
culture land in the bottom 70%. If you're looking for a new job, click here. Not that that's the case, but I wonder if we could use the same, how to find a better job as a technician. I wonder if we could do that and then bring them in.
Definitely. I just wrote it down. Retargeting ads here.
We should just put some money, all of us together, and just test it just for the event. That would be so sick. Just like, hey guys, so we tested pixels. But yeah, just talking out loud here. Now I wonder,
No, no, no.
you
It makes
treat it as a
total sense.
marketing machine, take it as a recruiting. Now I'm like, interesting,
So,
interesting.
part of now that you mentioned that this really becomes a funnel too, right? Of applicants, and then at the end, a hired employee. Part of our talk in Denver, it's really about building this recruiting machine. And I already have a framework that I created a couple of years ago. It's called the hiring funnel framework. And it's really a funnel that starts at the very top, is called acquisition level. That's the top part. And I speak about all the ads and all the landing pages that have to happen and that company has to have set up in order to really attract people. So I already have this hiring component as it is. I treat it exactly as a customer. And when a company really understands that, they just get on a completely different mindset. uh, if you think about it, you get paid, or we as cleaning business owners, we get paid to find people. That's really our work. We're recruiters. We're
That's
headhunters.
a good.
We just happens to
That's a
be
really good
cleaners.
way to look at it.
We're not.
That's
Yeah, headhunters are usually like for high end C-level like positions or developers, things of that nature. But think about it, there's consumers out there looking for cleaners, and they call cleaning companies, janitorial companies, to find cleaners. So we are headhunters basically for cleaners. And if we have that mindset, we should have set up or ads or landing pages or funnels and a full process to really get people from visitor. Remember, they're a visitor to your website. They fill out your form, then they become an applicant at that stage, and then from applicant to hired employee, there's another set of steps. And that is exactly what we will be talking in Denver, is how to really get that whole process organized for your company and how to implement it, because that will make the biggest difference in your business after anything else that you can implement.
it,
Well,
So
and even like your leadership team, you are a headhunter. You are
correct.
going, and you could grab somebody from Neil and teach them the ways, but there's also like, how are
Mhm.
you gonna make your leadership team like top of the top, right? Like, how do you say, oh yeah, my director of operations, this guy used to, I don't know, run. I used to say this guy used to run,
Right.
part of all these. He had his own company, sold it, and now he's here with us, making sure you're okay. Like, that's also part of the recruitment portion. And I think like one of our mentors says, right, like, oh, we don't call our cleaners cleaners. We don't do that. They're technicians, right? And so that's part of
Correct.
also like your hiring, like you're talking about, like the identity that you're going, the process, right? Oh, you can go for a cleaning job. We don't do cleaning jobs here. We do like we're a technician, right? Like it. I remember like him getting really serious about like, if I ever hear somebody call him a cleaner, like that's not what our core values is. But that's also part of, again, part of that marketing, that positioning, but in the recruiter level.
Correct. Yeah, we call them cleaning techs, and we even have like I say 3 levels of cleaning techs. When we finish training somebody, we come in our process. We have a final report, and is uh, basic cleaner. Like you can clean, but you cannot be let alone to clean. And we decide, okay, you're a basic cleaner. Then there is like the middle level is forgot the name. I'll have to look it up, but it's like you're right in the middle. You're not an amazing cleaner, but you can handle things, but you cannot still train other people, for example. Um, and then the third level is really the we call the rockstar cleaner, and those are people that you train in 1 week. They are out of the training, and you can say this person can handle training other people, they don't make mistakes, basic mistakes. They're professional, they're courteous, they can really execute the job with total confidence that we can send them to a good customer and they won't mess up. So we have that internal um, process in our company. So we when somebody gets out of the training, the scheduler can say, okay, I'm dealing with a basic cleaner. Okay, cool. I know I cannot send this person to these specific homes or these specific offices because they're not ready yet. So
Mm-hmm.
they're good enough to pass the training, but that person still needs a couple of months of development to really
Yeah.
get to that rockstar level, which is where we want to take everyone. So there is that also internal that we manage. So
Yeah. Nice. Well, look, Juan,
yeah.
I know we're coming into the time here, but I know James, we have this new thing on the podcast, which I'll let James explain. Before we get into that, we do have one question, unless James, you have something.
no, I don't. I'm just going to encourage everyone. We'll link it in the show notes to listen to Juan's previous episode because we talked a lot about recruiting, but you're also really good about talking about retention. And he talks
Mhm.
about taking the status of your employees once they're like in. And Pipe Hire does this cool thing of like sending an emoji every day of like your employee level of happy,
How you
sad.
feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool, man. That was actually the first thing like a year and a half ago, whenever we met, that drew me to you. So if you guys are listening to this, I'm going to tease that up. We'll link the podcast in the show notes here. But Juan's first episode with us back in the day talked about a little bit about recruiting, but it was more about retention because we can recruit our ass off, but now we have to retain top talent. So Juan, I love this, man. I was going to say, man, I want a master class with Juan, but I was like, oh, wait, we're going to get one at Cleaning Profits 2.0. So I look forward to it, man.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, excited to be in Colorado. Love that state, and to see you guys again since we met. We haven't seen each other.
I'm back. So. Yeah.
We were
let me ask you.
In Miami, but never happened.
I know that was supposed to happen, but
that's fine.
Yeah. Anyways, I know James has a question, but before he has a question, let me ask you, Juan, what got you to decide to participate in Cleaning Profits? Like what, obviously it takes investment both from a financial standpoint, time, most importantly, like you're away from family, unless they come with you. But, what got you to say, you know what, let's go, I'll do it?
I really like what you guys are building. I think this podcast and in general, what the community that you guys are building is very important. And, you guys are young like me and they're just building new things, challenging the status quo, taking, advantage over, our skills or tech skills. So I really just like you guys in general. And I think you're building a good community. I think also we share the same faith, the same values. So I also like that. And I think, I decided to join you guys in the event because we just share a lot of values together. So, and we're in the same industry.
Boom. I love it. All right, James, I'll let you explain the next step.
Man.
Let's see if he wants to play.
So we do this new thing called question roulette on the show. Have this little box here, random questions inside of it. We don't know what questions will come out and be asked. Once we ask a question on the show, we throw away the question, never gets asked again. Are you willing to play?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right.
Oh, God, here we go.
Is it business related or is it just...
It's just a good old open whatever happens.
Oh, my gosh.
I think it's still PG-13, right? Like, does the box have a limit, James? Does it say, like, without...
There's only been one question on the show that I pulled out that I did not ask. That Angel doesn't even know.
What?
Yeah.
What? You can't do that. That's not how. Oh, you can't do that.
It was rated.
You said it live.
I said it live. It was a rated X question. So this box is not PG-13.
That's okay.
Okay.
Well, going forward, no more limitations.
Okay. This is a good one, man. This is a good one. It says, "Why I quit blank." So basically, it's asking, "Why did you quit something?" Why I quit blank.
Yeah, so you get to put on the blank whatever you decide to quit. So like, why I quit smoking cigarettes, why I quit.
Okay, and then give the explanation.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Why I quit Amway.
There we go. Yes. Tell us.
I was back in 2004, and
That's so good.
I quit Amway because I was dealing with people that were not willing to do the same level of work that I had and the same commitment that I had. And I was noticing that the growth of my business was depending on these guys wanting to go out there and do the same, effort every night, showing the different products and things that the Amway Think Work had. So I quit because I didn't see any future for me there. But I took, big lessons from that experience, which was, all the sales part that you have to really have a thick skin to go out there and talk to people, offer things. So for me, it was a school of, getting kind of that sales mentality and, thick skin to really hit the street with any product and really offer it. So that's the thing that I took from it. It took me 4 years to kind of develop into that. So I quit that because no future, but I was grateful for what I learned. So, and that's how I got started in the rest of my projects.
That's all. Yeah, that's a wonderful answer, by the way.
I was not expecting that. Why I quit Cutco? Just kidding. That would be mine. We also Cutco or Amway or something.
Yeah.
Something. James has an episode where he sold illegal paintings, Juan. So you're gonna have to go listen to
Yeah.
it by accident. It was accident.
Yeah.
Why did I quit? Because the FBI raided us. Oh, but anyways, that's a different conversation. Juan, man, thanks so much for being here, brother. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Sure.
You're a wealth of knowledge, and I can't wait for the people that go to the roundtable. I get to ask you these questions, and you get to show them your framework. I'm excited for them to
Sure.
get some good knowledge out of it. And if you haven't gotten your ticket, make sure you get your ticket, at least to go talk to Juan. Juan alone is worth the
No
ticket of
doubt.
the price of the ticket.
Definitely.
And that's why in our event, like I think we're one of the few only events that we'll do a money back guarantee. You go to the event, you attend, you participate, and you absolutely hate it or get nothing out of it, I will wire you your money right there and then, no questions asked, because that's how confident we are in both the people that we get, like Juan, the roundtable, the keynotes, and we're betting on ourselves. So once again, man, thanks so much, appreciate
Thank
it, and if
you.
you ever need anything, let us know.
Thank you, James, and we'll see you guys in a couple of, I guess, a month.
Yeah, in 2 months, we'll see you in 2 months,
Awesome,
man.
man. I'll see you soon, brother. Thank you.
All right. God bless you
God bless.
guys. Ciao. Hablamos. Bye bye.